At 11:42 p.m., my phone lit up with a private live stream link under Olivia's name, and my whole world paused. I stared at the notification, confused, because Olivia never went live. A cold shiver ran down my spine, but I didn't open it. Not yet, I whispered to myself. A warning before a storm is still a storm. Even though my hand kept drifting toward it like it had its own heartbeat. Dude, why do you look like you just saw a ghost? Mark asked. He leaned on the doorway of my apartment, holding a half-eaten slice of pizza. I don't know, I said. My phone showed something weird. What kind of weird? He asked, stepping closer. A private live video. I swallowed. From Olivia? Mark's eyes narrowed. Man, that doesn't sound right. It's probably nothing, I said quickly. She's at her bachelorette party. Maybe she hit something by mistake. Yeah, Mark muttered. And maybe I'm the president. Come on, Ryan. Use your brain. I forced a laugh, but even I could hear how empty it sounded. You always think the worst, he raised a brow. And you always think love is a shield. Trust, but tie your camel, right? I sighed. Is that another one of your wise sayings? Hey, old proverbs exist for a reason, he said. Because people repeat the same mistakes for centuries. I shook my head and grabbed a glass of water. I'm not making mistakes. I just trust her. You trust too much, he replied. There's a difference. His words stung because they always carried a shadow of truth. But I didn't want to think about that. I didn't want to think about anything except the life I believed I was building. I'm serious, Mark, I said. Olivia isn't like that. She's different. Mark laughed under his breath. Yeah, she's different. Too perfect. Too polished. Too untouchable. There's always something off about people who walk like they never step in mud. She works hard, I argued. She's disciplined. She knows what she wants and you don't. He asked. I do, I said softly. I want a simple life. A home, a family, a wedding without drama, a wife who loves me back. Mark studied me for a moment. You always say, life is simple. But remember this, man. The axe forgets, but the tree remembers. I frowned. What does that even mean? It means hurt lasts longer than the one who caused it, he said, tapping my chest. You feel things deeper than you admit. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was too soft, too hopeful, too in love. But wasn't that what love was supposed to be? Trusting someone enough to hand them your heart? Mark walked to the couch and sat down. Come here, sunshine. Tell Uncle Mark how wedding planning is destroying your soul. I laughed, shaking off the tension. It's not destroying anything. I just want everything perfect. I want Olivia to have the wedding she dreams about. And what about your dream? He asked. My dream is her, I said, without thinking. Mark groaned. You're killing me. You know that, right? I smiled. It's true. He tossed a pillow at me. You're the reason nice guys get memes made about them. I sat there for a moment in quiet, and I let my mind drift. I thought about Olivia's smile, the way she said my name, the way she talked about our future. I thought about how I worked overtime for months to save for the wedding venue she wanted. I thought about how she cried when we signed the reservation papers, saying, you're the kind of man every woman prays for. Maybe I was foolish, but I believed her. I believed every word. She loves me, I said aloud, more to myself than Mark. She really does. Mark didn't answer right away. Ryan, love and loyalty aren't the same thing. I ignored that too. I picked up my phone again, staring at the dark screen. That notification sat in my mind like a ticking bomb, but I pushed it away. Tonight wasn't about doubt. Tonight was about celebrating the life I thought I was creating. Do you ever think I'm too soft? I asked. Yes, Mark replied instantly. I glared at him. You could lie sometimes, you know. Why lie? He said. Soft isn't bad. Soft keeps you human. But being soft in front of sharks, that's how you bleed. You think Olivia is a shark? I think people hide their teeth, he said. Even the pretty ones. I sighed again. You're impossible. You're blind. He shot back. I looked around my apartment. The the place that would become our home after the wedding. Her side of the closet already had clothes in it. Her favorite candle sat on the table. Her toothbrush was next to mine. Everything looked ready for a life we promised each other, Mark. I said quietly, "Do you really think something could be wrong?" He didn't speak for a moment. Then he said, "I think you're a good man. And the world isn't always kind to good men." Words stayed with me. I checked the time, midnight, the unopened live stream. Link still waited inside my phone like a secret. Whisper, a proverb floated into my mind. When the wind changes, the leaf learns its true direction. I didn't know why it appeared, but it felt heavy. I didn't open the link. Not yet. Because I still believed my life was whole, and I still believed Olivia was mine, even though the cracks were already forming, even though the wind had already changed. Asterisk. When my phone rang again, close to midnight, I thought it was Mark calling back to joke about something stupid. Instead, I saw Lily's name flashing. I hesitated because she never called me this late. When I picked up, her shaky voice hit me fast. "Ryan, are you alone?" "Yeah," I said. "What's wrong?" "I don't know how to say this," she whispered. "But Olivia is acting wild tonight." "Really wild?" My heart jumped. "What do you mean wild?" "It's her bachelorette. People drink," she said. "This is different. She's not herself. Hannah keeps pushing her. I tried stopping them." I frowned hard. "Where are they?" "Miami," she said. "The yacht. The same one Hannah rented." I rubbed my forehead. "Lily, slow down. What happened?" "You might get angry at me for saying this," she whispered, "but someone is live streaming the party privately." My breath stopped. "Live streaming what?" "I don't know who started it. Maybe one of Hannah's friends. But things look wrong. I thought you should know." "Send me the link," I said immediately. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Just send it." She sighed, regret heavy in her voice. "Okay. I'm sorry, Ryan." When I hung up, I stared at the message she sent. A link. No caption. No explanation. Just a door waiting to be opened. Mark walked back into the room with a bag of chips. "Why do you look worse than before?" he asked. "It's Lily," I said. "She said the party is getting out of control." Gah! He shook his head. "Told you that girl crowd was trouble. Hannah is pure chaos. She said someone is live streaming it." His eyebrows shot up. "Live? Like right now?" "Yes." He stared at me for a second. "Ryan, don't open it. I have to." "No," he said firmly. "Not tonight. Nothing good comes from late-night truth. Even proverbs say he who digs for snakes should expect a bite." I sat down anyway. "If something is happening, I need to know." "Man, you trust her," he said softly. "Trust means you don't torture yourself." I exhaled. "I'm not torturing myself. I'm protecting myself." "From what?" "I don't know," I admitted. He sat beside me. "Before you click anything, breathe." But breathing didn't help. My pulse was too loud. My palms were wet. I clicked the link. Instant noise hit me music. Shouting, laughter. The camera was shaky, moving across bright lights on the deck of a yacht. I whispered, "Okay, maybe it's nothing." Then I heard her laugh. Olivia's laugh. I leaned closer. "That's her." Mark put a hand on my shoulder. "Bro." The camera panned, and there she was, Olivia holding a drink, swaying her arms around a guy I'd never seen. A tall man with a shaved head and a grin that made my stomach twist. "She's drunk," I said quickly. "Really drunk?" "Yeah," Mark muttered. "But that's not the problem." The man whispered something in her ear, and she laughed again. Then she kissed his cheek. The people around them screamed like it was part of some game. My chest tightened. No, she wouldn't. "Ryan," I held up my hand. "Let me watch." The camera moved closer as Olivia lifted her drink. She shouted, "Last night of freedom." While Hannah clapped beside her, I felt something crack inside me. "Hannah planned this," I said. "She always pushes her. Doesn't matter who planned it. Mark whispered. Look. I looked. The man pulled Olivia closer and she didn't resist. Their mouths met in a slow kiss, long enough to kill a part of me. The crowd cheered louder. I felt every cheer like a knife. No. I whispered. No. She wouldn't do that, Mark whispered. I'm so sorry, man. I could barely hear him. My ears were ringing. Olivia pulled away from the kiss only to take the guy's hand. She tugged him toward a door. The camera followed until they disappeared inside a cabin. The cheering grew even louder. My voice broke. Why is she doing this? Mark didn't answer. I whispered, we have a wedding in 2 weeks. The camera shook and turned again, showing Hannah laughing with others. She shouted, let her have fun. It's her last night. I pressed my hand over my mouth, shaking. She said she loved me. She said I was the safest place she ever had. Mark leaned closer. Ryan, don't keep watching this. But I kept staring at the dark cabin door like it was a grave. Inside that room, the woman I loved was destroying every promise she ever made to me. The video kept streaming, but I couldn't see her anymore. Just that door. A moment later, Lily called again. I answered with a cracked whisper. Why, Lily? Why did you send me this? She sounded like she was crying. Because it was wrong. Because she shouldn't be doing this. Because you deserve truth. I swallowed hard. Does she know someone is filming? I don't think so, Lily said. I tried to talk to her. She pushed me away. Hannah said I was ruining the party energy. I squeezed my eyes shut. She went inside with some guy. I know, Lily whispered. I'm so sorry. I wish I could stop her, Mark whispered. End the call, Ryan. I ignored him. Lily, thank you for telling me. I can't think straight right now. Her voice cracked. Please don't blame yourself. She made her choice. I hung up without answering. Silence swallowed the room. My phone screen dimmed, but the image stayed burned in my mind. Mark finally said, what are you going to do? I stared at nothing. I don't know. Another proverb floated into my head like a cruel truth. The heart that trusts becomes the heart that breaks. Mine broke clean through. Asterisk, when the stream kept running. I felt my hands shake so hard I almost dropped my phone. Olivia's voice came through the speakers, loud and messy, her laugh stretched into something I barely recognized. I'm free for one last night, she shouted. Hearing her say that ripped something inside me. I whispered, why would she say that? But the screen kept moving, showing blurry lights, spilled drinks, and people cheering like the world was ending. Mark sat beside me, whispering, Ryan, turn it off. But I couldn't. I felt glued to the truth that was burning me alive in real time. The camera swung back toward the cabin door. Still halfway open, showing nothing but shadows inside. I leaned closer. Olivia's voice echoed again, softer this time, followed by the stranger's deeper tone. I whispered, please tell me she's not in there with him. But the silence that followed that whisper felt like an answer on its own. My chest tightened. My throat went dry. The room around me disappeared, leaving only the phone screen pulling me into a reality I never wanted to see. I wanted it to freeze, rewind, erase itself, but it only played forward. The cheering outside the door grew louder as someone shouted, Go, Olivia! It's your night. My stomach churned. I whispered, she promised me. She promised. Mark placed a hand on my shoulder and said, Man, don't do this to yourself. I shook my head. I have to watch. If I don't, I'll imagine worse. He sighed heavily, whispering, Nothing is worse than what's real. I didn't answer. I felt like my ribs were closing around my lungs, squeezing the air out of me with every new sound from the stream. When Olivia's laugh echoed again. Muffled through the cabin door, something inside me cracked. Why is she laughing like that with someone else? I said. Mark tried again. She's drunk. She doesn't know what she's doing. I turned toward him, eyes burning. That's not an excuse. Not for this. He didn't respond. He just looked at me with a sadness that made my chest hurt even more. I whispered, I worked so hard for us. For her. The camera zoomed by accident, showing the shadows moving behind the half-open door. And I felt my heart collapse on itself. My voice broke as I said, "Everything I ever saved went into this wedding. Every plan. Every dream. All of it." Mark stared at the floor, whispering, "You didn't deserve this." Hearing that made the pain sharper. I whispered, "I gave her everything I had." My breathing grew uneven as the stream shook again, showing Hannah cheering with a group of girls. "She doesn't care," I muttered. "She doesn't care about me at all." Mark leaned forward. "Ryan, listen to me. You're not the one breaking anything tonight. She is. She's the one destroying her own home." The shadows behind the door shifted again, and I flinched like someone had hit me. "There's no way she doesn't know what she's doing," I whispered. "She's choosing this." Mark didn't argue. He whispered, "I'm sorry, but apologies didn't help." Nothing helped. The sound of Olivia's voice, soft and playful, floated out again, and I felt tears rising. I wiped them quickly, hoping they'd stop, but they didn't. The screen blurred as more tears slipped out. "I thought she loved me," I whispered. "I thought I mattered to her." Mark said, "You did. Maybe you still do. But she's lost in something stupid tonight." I shook my head. "No, this isn't stupid. This is betrayal." My breathing shook as I said, "How do I come back from this? How do I look at her face again after seeing this?" Mark whispered, "Maybe you won't have to." I rubbed my eyes, whispering, "I plan to marry her. I plan to build a life with her." My voice cracked as I said, "Why wasn't I enough?" Mark grabbed my arm. "This isn't about you not being enough. This is about her failing you." The stream jolted as the camera holder stumbled, showing the cabin door once more still cracked open, still hiding the truth and revealing it at the same time. I stared at that thin line of darkness like it was the edge of everything I believed in. "That door," I whispered. "That door ruined everything." Mark shook his head. "She ruined everything, not the door." I took a long, shaky breath. My tears slowed. My heartbeat steadied. Something cold began forming in the center of my chest, spreading outward like frost. The laughter outside faded a little, replaced by distant music. I whispered, "I'm done crying." Mark looked at me, confused. "What do you mean?" I placed the phone face down on the table and stared at nothing. "I mean, I'm finished breaking over someone who doesn't break for me." He leaned back. "Ryan, are you sure you're okay?" I shook my head. "I'm not okay, but I will be." My voice lowered into something I didn't recognize. Something hollow. "Something steady," Mark whispered. "What are you thinking?" I stood up slowly, wiping the final tear from my cheek. "Tomorrow," I said quietly, "I end this." Aid stared at me but didn't speak. I felt the coldness settle fully into my voice as I whispered the words again. "Tomorrow, I end this."
Ow.
The broken man inside me cried his last tear, and someone new stood up in his place. I spent the rest of the night moving like a ghost inside my own apartment. I didn't scream, didn't throw anything, didn't break down again. I just opened the closet, pulled out Olivia's clothes, and laid them on the bed one by one. My hands felt steady, almost too steady. I whispered to myself, if calm feels this cold, something inside me is already gone. Still, I kept packing. Every folded shirt felt like a goodbye I never chose. Mark stood in the doorway watching me. "Ryan, you don't have to do this tonight." "Do," I said quietly. He stepped closer. "At least sit down. You haven't eaten. You haven't even blinked." "I don't want to sit," I said. "I want this done." He sighed. Man, this is rough to watch. 8. Imagine how it feels to live. Mark hesitated. Do you want me to stay? No, I said. I need to do this alone. He nodded slowly. Call me if you break apart again. I won't, I said, and the certainty in my voice surprised even me. He paused at the door. You're different right now. I know. After he left, the silence became thick enough to breathe. I sat on the edge of the bed and unlocked my phone. I scrolled through old texts from Olivia Every. I miss you. Every you're my forever. Every promise she made like it was effortless. I whispered, how many lies does it take to build a future? No one answered, so I opened our photos instead. There she was, smiling in the snow, kissing my cheek, holding my hand at the beach, lying on my couch laughing at something stupid I once said. Each photo felt like a knife with a date on it. I clicked one where she hugged me from behind and whispered in my ear, don't ever leave me. I laughed bitterly. You left me first, I said to the screen. You just didn't say it out loud. I went to her social media page, scrolled through her posts about our engagement, the ring, the venue I worked overtime to pay for. Every caption talked about love, loyalty, and future plans. I muttered, future. You killed it in one night. The silence around me felt heavier than my own breath. My phone buzzed suddenly. I jumped a little. It was my mom, Linda, I answered with a shaky, hey, Mom. Her worried voice filled the room. Ryan, honey, it's late. Are you okay? I'm fine, I lied instantly. You don't sound fine, she said. I felt something was wrong, swallowed hard. I'm just tired. She sighed softly. I know you don't like when I say this, but Olivia always seemed distant, like she was somewhere else even when she was with you. My chest tightened. Mom, please. Not tonight. I'm not attacking her, she said gently. I'm worried about you. I'm okay, I repeated. Asterisk, you don't lie well, she whispered. Talk to me. I can't, I said. Not right now. She paused for a long moment. If you need a place to breathe, come home tomorrow. Maybe, I said, even though I didn't know what tomorrow would look like. I love you. Ryan, I love you too, Mom. When the call ended, I set the phone down and stared at the wall. My mother always sensed things before I did. Maybe she saw cracks I ignored. Maybe everyone did except me. I stood up, grabbed a box, began placing Olivia's items inside her perfumes. Her books, her makeup bag, the little notes she wrote me back when things felt real. One note slipped out, landing at my feet. I picked it up and read her handwriting. You are the safest place I've ever known. My jaw clenched. I wasn't safe enough to stay loyal to. I crumpled the note, but then stopped. Revenge wasn't about rage. Rage was messy, loud, uncontrolled. I didn't want messy. I wanted clarity. I wanted an ending that didn't leave any room for her to twist the truth. I won't yell at her, I whispered. I won't beg. I won't even ask why. I lifted another of her dresses and folded it neatly. She'll walk in tomorrow and see what she chose. I heard my own voice change lower, colder, steady in a way that scared me. She thinks I'm weak, I said. She thinks kindness means blindness. She thinks loyalty means stupidity. Place the last of her items into the box. But tomorrow, she sees the truth. I moved through the living room next, gathering the little things she left everywhere, hair ties on the coffee table, her jacket on my chair, her slippers under the sofa, placed everything in a second box. The apartment slowly shifted back into being mine again, as I carried the boxes to the door. I whispered, you took advantage of every part of me that loved you. The clock hit 3:17 a.m. I felt tired but strangely awake, like heartbreak had replaced sleep. I walked into the kitchen, grabbed a glass of water, and leaned against the counter. My phone buzzed again. Lily, texting, I'm sorry. I should have stopped her. Typed back, it wasn't your job to stop her. Then I wrote another message but deleted it. There was nothing more to say. I turned off the lights and stood in the dark, the boxes by the door like silent witnesses. My heartbeat slowed. My breathing evened out. This ends tomorrow, I whispered to myself, and for the first time since the stream began, My voice didn't shake. Asterisk, I heard the door unlock around noon, and my stomach tightened. Olivia stumbled in with sunglasses on, suitcase rolling behind her, humming like a kid returning from summer camp. "Baby, I'm home," she called out, cheerful and hungover. Her voice echoed through the apartment like a joke I didn't laugh at. I stood in the kitchen pouring coffee. "Welcome back," I said, my voice flat. She didn't notice. She rushed over and wrapped her arms around me, pressing her face into my chest. "God, I missed you," she said. Her perfume, normally warm and soft, hit me like poison. I froze, my hands barely touching her back. She pulled away just enough to smile at me. A fake smile, too wide, too practiced. "You didn't text much." "I thought you were mad at me." "I was busy," I said. "Busy?" She laughed lightly. "Ryan, it was my bachelorette weekend." "You could have sent a cute message or two." "I'll try harder next time," I replied calmly. She didn't catch the sharp edge in my tone. She kicked off her shoes and said Miami was amazing. The girls went a little crazy, but you know how parties get. She tossed her hair, pretending she wasn't watching for my reaction. "Yeah?" I asked, turning to face her. "Crazy how?" She waved a hand. "Oh, you know, drinks, music, dancing, nothing wild." She stretched her arms above her head. Honestly, it was pretty simple and sweet. The lie cut straight through me. "Simple," I repeated. She nodded cheerfully. "Very." Hannah planned most of it. She's so extra, but it was still cute. Another lie, another blade. She walked toward the counter. "Is that coffee for me?" "It's just black," I said. "Didn't know how you'd feel today." She giggled. "Probably dead inside." "Probably," I murmured. She didn't hear me. She grabbed a stool and sat down, rubbing her temples. God, I drank too much. My head is killing me. Lily said I should slow down, but she always worries too much. I stared at her for a moment. Lily worries because she cares. Olivia shrugged. She's dramatic. She thinks everything is a crisis. I took a slow sip of my coffee. Sometimes things are crises. She looked up confused. "Are you okay? You're being weird." "I'm fine," I said. "Just tired." She reached across the counter and touched my wrist. I didn't move. "Ryan, did I do something wrong?" "You're acting distant." I shook my head slightly. "No, you're imagining things." She studied me for a moment, then laughed it off. "Whatever, you probably just miss me too much." I didn't answer. I just watched her, the woman who destroyed me, sitting in my kitchen, asking for coffee like nothing happened. The sunlight hit her face softly. Any other day I would have kissed her. Today, I could barely look at her without feeling sick. She took her sunglasses off and squinted. "Ugh, I look awful." "You look fine," I said, though the sight of her almost felt surreal now. "Thanks," she said sweetly. "You're always so good to me." I looked straight into her eyes. Yeah, I was. She blinked slowly. "What do you mean was?" I shook my head. "Forget it." "Hey." She hopped off the stool and stretched again. "Oh." "My dad called me earlier. He said he wants to talk to you about the rehearsal dinner." "You know how he is?" I didn't react. "Yeah, Charles always has something to say." She smiled awkwardly. "Don't be like that. He likes you. He tolerates me," I corrected. She laughed. "You're so dramatic. He loves you. He just shows it weird." "He shows it by telling me I'm lucky you said yes," I said softly. She froze. "Ryan, what's going on with you today?" "Nothing." She stepped closer. "Is this about the wedding budget?" "Because Dad said he'd cover more if we needed. I don't want his money." She sighed. "Ryan, he's just trying to help." "No," I replied. "He's trying to make sure you marry someone he approves of," she groaned. "Please don't start with this again." I set my mug down. "I'm not starting anything." "Then why are you being so cold?" she snapped. I forced a soft exhale. "Just tired, Olivia. That's all." She softened. "Okay, I'm going to shower. I smell like tequila and ocean water." She laughed lightly, waiting for me to laugh too. I didn't. She tilted her head. "Seriously, what's wrong?" "Nothing," I said again. "Go shower." She hesitated, then walked toward the hallway. "We'll talk later, okay?" I didn't answer. The moment she disappeared into the bathroom, I leaned against the counter, gripping the edge so hard my fingers turned white. My mind replayed every second of the yacht, every laugh, every touch. Every lie she told just now like she practiced them on the plane home. She said simple and sweet. She said nothing wild happened. She said I missed you. Every word twisted deeper. I whispered to myself, she thinks I'm a fool. And the thought didn't hurt anymore. It angered me. My phone buzzed. Text from Charles. Call me. We need to discuss something important. I stared at his name. Charles Blake. Wealthy. Arrogant, always looking at me like I was a stray dog his daughter picked up off the street. I imagined his face when he learned what she did. I whispered, you'll see your perfect daughter soon. The shower turned on. Steam drifted from under the door. I closed my eyes and breathed slowly. Not yet, I told myself. Don't break now. When she walked out of that bathroom, she'd still think the world belonged to her. But tomorrow she'd wake up in a world she'd never expected. Asterisk, I woke up the next morning with a cold clarity I'd never felt before. No shaking. No confusion. Just purpose. I stared at the ceiling and whispered, today's the day. The words felt steady, almost mechanical, like they came from someone new. I got out of bed, grabbed my phone, and dialed the number for the wedding venue. A woman answered cheerfully, Grandview Estates, how may I help you? I need to cancel a reservation, I said calmly. Oh. May I ask which name it's under? Ryan Carter? She typed for a moment. Found it. It's a lovely package. Are you adjusting the date? No, I replied. Cancel everything. She hesitated. Sir, this will void the contract. You'll lose your deposit. I understand. Another pause. May I ask the reason? Just for our records? No reason you need to know, I said. Just cancel it, of course. I'll process it right now. When I hung up, I whispered, one piece removed. Next, I logged into our joint wedding fund account. My money sat there quietly, mixed with hers. I stared at the number for a long moment, then clicked withdraw. The transfer confirmed instantly. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like reclaiming something she never deserved. My phone buzzed. Olivia, good morning, baby. Can we confirm cake flavors today? I stared at the message without typing. Another buzz. Olivia. Also, should we finalize seating charts? My dad wants to know who sits with the Blakes. A third buzz? Olivia? Ryan, why aren't you answering? I locked the phone. I wasn't ready for her voice. Not yet. I dialed another number, one I never liked calling. Charles Blake answered on the second ring. Ryan, he said in his usual stern tone. What do you need? I need 10 minutes, I said. You sound serious. Is something wrong? Yes, I said. Very, he inhaled. Well, go on. Olivia cheated on me, I said plainly. Silence. Long, heavy silence, I continued. There's a video stream. I have the link. You'll receive it soon. More silence. Then a quiet, unfamiliar voice from his side. Ryan, are you joking? I said. I wouldn't call you for a joke. Another stretch of silence followed. Then he asked, You sure? I watched it happen. He exhaled shakily. Send the link. I will, I said. But I'm canceling the wedding. You need to talk to her before she lies to you. He muttered something under his breath. Then, Ryan, I never expected you to call me like this. I never expected her to betray me, I answered. He didn't reply for several seconds. Then he said, Send it. I'll handle the rest. I ended the call and leaned back into the couch. The room felt still, like even the air didn't want to move. My phone buzzed again. Olivia. Calling this time, I let it ring. Then her text came through. Olivia, why are you ignoring me? Another text. Olivia? Ryan? Seriously? Is something wrong? I whispered, Everything is wrong. Her father texted next. Charles. Received. I'll speak to her. I placed the phone face down.
Ow.
I didn't want to see more. Hours passed slowly.
I kept
Moving through the apartment, picking up things, setting them down, trying to feel normal. But nothing felt normal. Every sound reminded me of her voice from the yacht. Every shadow felt like the cabin door half open. Around 3 in the afternoon, Olivia texted again. Olivia, My dad is acting weird. Did you talk to him about something? I didn't respond. Then she called. I ignored it. A minute later, another text. Olivia, Ryan, what did you say to him? He won't talk to me. Good, I thought. Very good. I waited another hour before my phone rang again, this time from an unknown number. I answered. Hello? Ryan, it's Charles. I straightened. Did you watch it? Yes, he said softly. I had never heard softness in his voice before. I am disappointed. In her or in me? I asked. In her, he said. You didn't deserve this. That surprised me. Thank you. He took a breath. I confronted her. She's denying everything, saying it was harmless fun. She claims she doesn't remember. She remembers, I said bluntly. So do I, he answered. I told her not to call me until she's ready to tell the truth. A tiny part of me felt vindicated. Good, Ryan, he said. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I misjudged you. I didn't know what to say to that, so I stayed quiet. He continued. Do whatever you need to. You have my support. We ended the call. Minutes later, Olivia texted. Olivia. My dad just screamed at me. What did you do? Then another. Olivia. Ryan, talk to me. I let the phone vibrate in my hand before putting it on the table again. My chest felt tight, but not in the same way it had the night before. It wasn't heartbreak now. It was clarity. It was the slow, deliberate burning away of every illusion I ever carried. I whispered, This is what you chose, Olivia. Another text popped up. Olivia, can you please call me? I'm freaking out. I didn't. Instead, I called Mark. He answered immediately. Man, where are you? I've been waiting for news. I made my first moves, I said. He exhaled. And how do you feel? Steady, I replied. Cold, focused. That scares me, he said. It should, I whispered. What's next? He asked. Tomorrow, I said. Tomorrow, she faces everything. He stayed quiet for a moment. I'm with you, man. I know. When I hung up, I stood in the middle of the apartment. Everything quiet, except the faint hum of the fridge. Even the air felt tense. Like the world was pausing with me. She kept texting. I let every message go unanswered. Because today wasn't about speaking. Today was about control. And for the first time since the night of the stream, I finally had it. Asterisk, I heard the knock at my door just after 9 in the morning. Soft at first, then impatient. I knew the rhythm. I knew the way she knocked when she expected me to open immediately. I didn't move. I just sat on the couch, staring at the paused frame on my laptop the moment Olivia disappeared into the cabin with him. The timestamp glowed like a wound. Ryan? Olivia called from the hallway. Her voice sounded tired, shaky, hungover. Baby, can you open the door? My dad is being weird and just open, please. I didn't answer. I waited. She tried again, louder this time. Ryan, come on. What's going on? I finally stood and opened the door. She looked at me, confused, mascara smudged, hair in a messy bun, suitcase behind her. Why didn't you answer my texts? She asked immediately. Why didn't you call me back? My dad yelled at me, and then she stepped inside, and she froze. Her eyes moved from the packed boxes, to her neatly folded clothes stacked by the wall, to her makeup bag sealed shut, to the laptop on the table, paused on a frame she instantly recognized. The color drained from her face. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I walked past her, sat back on the couch, and said quietly, Close the door. She obeyed without thinking. Ryan, she whispered. What? What is this? You tell me, I said. She stared at the screen like it was a gun pointed at her. Then her breath hitched. Oh, God. Ryan. Please, I raised a hand. Don't start lying. She shook her head violently. I'm not lying. I don't remember half of that night. We were drunk, and Hannah pushed me too. I cut her off. I watched the whole stream. Her knees wobbled. I saw everything, I continued. Every laugh. Every lie. Every kiss. Every second you walked into that room with him. She covered her mouth with her trembling hands. Tears gathered fast. Ryan, please listen. I did listen, I said. Last night. On to you. To your friends. To everything you did while you thought I'd be here, waiting like an idiot. She stepped forward. Ryan, no, please. It wasn't meant enough to end us. Her whole body jolted like I slapped her. Ryan, don't say that, she begged. Please don't say that. Let me explain. You already explained, I said. When you put your mouth on him, when you pulled him inside that room, when you told your friends you were free for one last night, her voice cracked. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking. You were thinking plenty, I said coldly. You were thinking about freedom? You were thinking about fun. You were thinking about yourself. The only person missing from your thoughts was me. She collapsed to her knees right there on the rug. Ryan, please. I'm begging you. Don't end this over a mistake. A mistake? I repeated. A mistake is forgetting a dinner reservation. A mistake is missing a call. What you did is not a mistake. She crawled closer, reaching for my leg. Please, I love you. I moved my leg back. Don't touch me. She froze again. Her tears hit the floor. Ryan, if you walk away, I'll fall apart. Door. You should have thought about that before you fell apart on a yacht. Shh. She sobbed loudly. I swear, it meant nothing. If it meant nothing, why do it? I asked. I don't know, she whispered. I was stupid. I was drunk. I was trying to fit in with my friends. I don't even like that guy. I don't even remember his name. It doesn't matter, I said. You remembered enough to go into that room with him. She slammed her fists weakly against the floor. Please, please give me another chance. No, her head shot up. No, I repeated. The wedding is canceled. She froze again. WH what? I canceled the venue yesterday, and I transferred my money out of the wedding fund. We're done. Her lips trembled. Ryan, no. Please don't do this. Oh, and your father knows, I added. Her eyes widened in horror. You told my dad? I did, she cried harder, shaking. Ryan, why would you do that to me? To you? I said sharply. I didn't cheat. I didn't humiliate us. I didn't make a public show out of our engagement. She hugged herself tightly. My dad won't even talk to me. He says he's disgusted. Ryan, you ruined everything. I didn't ruin anything, I said. You did. She shook her head desperately. Ryan, I was drunk, I swear. You know me. You know, I would never stop, I said. Just stop, she whimpered, wiping her tears with shaking hands. Can we please talk about it? Can we work through it? I'll do therapy, relationship counseling, anything. I don't want therapy, I said. I want you out. She stared at me like the world collapsed. Out, yes, I said. Take your things. Leave the key on the table, and don't come back. Hey. She grabbed my arm. Ryan, no, please, don't end us. I'll change. I'll fix this. I'll do anything. Ow. I pulled my arm away. You had one thing to protect. One thing. Me and you threw it away for a party? It meant nothing. She screamed. It meant enough, I said softly. Enough to end everything. She broke completely, then sobbing, shaking, begging, clutching the rug like it might save her. But inside me, something stayed still, cold, steady, done. She crawled toward the boxes. So that's it? After everything we've been through? I nodded. That's it. She looked around like she didn't recognize the apartment anymore. I can't believe this. I can't believe you're doing this to me. You did it to yourself. She stared at me through wet eyelashes. I love you, she whispered. I exhaled slowly. No, you loved the version of me who didn't know the truth. Silence, heavy, final. After a long time, she whispered, What am I supposed to do now? Live with the choice you made. That was the last thing I said before she finally stood, wiping her face, picking up the boxes with shaking hands, and for the first time since I met her, I felt absolutely nothing. Asterisk words spread faster than I expected, and by the next morning I heard from Lily that Charles had already cut Olivia off. When she told me, I just sat there staring at my coffee. He froze her cards, Lily whispered. He said she needs consequences. I only answered, I figured he would. Inside, I felt nothing. No relief, no victory, just an empty space where anger used to sit. Lily asked, Ryan, are you okay? And I told her I'm fine. Even though the silence inside me felt louder than anything she could hear, later that afternoon, Hannah posted a long message online pretending she had no idea what happened on the yacht. Lily sent me screenshots. She's lying to save herself, Lily said. I replied, she always cared more about her image than Olivia. Hannah stopped answering Olivia's calls completely. When Lily told me that, I only nodded. Betrayal was circling Olivia from every direction now, and none of it felt satisfying. I whispered, this isn't revenge. This is fallout, Lily said. You didn't cause this, Ryan. But the truth was, I didn't feel innocent or guilty. I just felt hollow. Asterisk that night, Olivia called me 13 times. I didn't answer once. Her voicemails were full of crying, begging, apologizing, promising change, promising therapy, promising anything that might pull me back. I muted every notification. My phone lit up again and again in the dark room, but I just watched it from across the table. You chose this, I whispered. Not me. When Lily texted, she's losing it, I typed, I know. She replied, do you feel better? I stared at the question for a long time before writing, no, I don't feel anything at all anymore. Asterisk the next morning, Mark came over with coffee. He took one look at my face and said, you didn't sleep. Well, I shrugged. Didn't want to. He sat across from me and asked, how bad is she doing? I answered, bad enough for her father to block her. Mark whistled softly. Damn, that's harsh. I shook my head. Not as harsh as what she did. He leaned forward. You know you did the right thing, right? I didn't answer. He repeated, Ryan, you had no choice. I whispered, why doesn't it feel like victory then? He sighed and said, because revenge doesn't fix the damage. It only stops the bleeding. I rubbed my eyes. I thought I'd feel something when her life started falling apart. Relief, closure, something. Mark shook his head. You're not built like that. I laughed bitterly. Maybe I should be. He said, no. You're decent. That's why this hurts more. I leaned back. Decency didn't protect me, he replied. It protected who you are. I didn't respond. The quiet between us felt heavy, but not suffocating, just real. After he left, I cleaned the apartment, not because it needed cleaning, but because I needed motion. I kept hearing Olivia's voice in my head, begging and crying. It didn't break me anymore, it just echoed. Around noon, Lily called again. She hasn't eaten, she said. She keeps saying she ruined everything. I closed my eyes. She did. Lily hesitated. Are you happy she's hurting? I answered honestly. No, I'm not happy. I'm not sad either. I'm just empty, she sighed. You really loved her, I whispered. Yeah, I did. That afternoon I forced myself to go for a run. The cold air burned my lungs, but it felt cleaner than the air inside my apartment. With every step I whispered, move forward. When I got home, I showered, cooked something simple, and sat down to work. For the first time in days, I felt my mind settle. Mark texted, proud of you. I replied, trying. He wrote back, trying is winning right now. I stared at the message and realized he was right. Healing wasn't dramatic. It was small, quiet choices repeated until the pain had nowhere left to live. In the evening, Olivia called from a different number. I blocked that one too. She texted from another number minutes later. Please, Ryan, please talk to me. I turned my phone over. Then another message came. I can't breathe. I'm losing everything. I closed my eyes. So did I whispered. But saying it didn't bring satisfaction. It only made me aware of how much of myself I had lost trusting her. When Mark checked in again, he asked, still holding the line? I wrote, yeah. He replied, good. Don't let her pull you back into the fire you escaped. Before going to bed, I stood by the window, looking at the city lights. I whispered, I don't hate her. I just don't know her anymore. The apartment felt bigger without her presence, but not empty or just quieter. I realized then that I wasn't trying to punish her anymore. I was trying to protect what was left of me. As I turned off the lights and headed to bed, I said softly, "Tomorrow, I choose myself again." And for the first time since everything fell apart, I believed it, before I finally slept. My phone buzzed one last time with a long message from Olivia, but I didn't open it. I just whispered, "Not anymore," lying there in the dark. I realized I wasn't healing from high, I was healing from who I became while loving her, and that truth hurt. But it also freed me. Asterisk, I was reviewing a project file when the receptionist called my desk and whispered, "Ryan, your fiancée is here." My stomach tightened. "She is not my fiancée," I said. "Well, she's crying in the lobby," she whispered. "Everyone's staring." I closed the call and stood up slowly. My coworkers watched me with raised eyebrows as I walked toward the lobby. When I turned the corner, there she was, Olivia Mascara running, hair messy, eyes swollen. She looked like she hadn't slept for days. She rushed toward me. "Ryan, please, please talk to me," kept my voice low. "You shouldn't be here." She grabbed my sleeve. I didn't know what else to do. "You blocked me everywhere. I'm losing my mind." People were watching, whispering. I hated that. "Come outside," I said. "Not here." We stepped into the cold air, and she immediately broke down. "Ryan, I can't do this anymore," she sobbed. "I can't function. I ruined everything." I crossed my arms. "What do you expect me to do with that?" She shook her head violently. "I know you hate me." "I know. But please, please just listen." "I'm listening," I said quietly. She wiped her face with shaking hands. "The guy from the yacht blocked me. He won't answer anything. My friends have ghosted me. Hannah won't even text me back. Everyone thinks I'm disgusting." I didn't react. "Actions have consequences." She choked. "I know. God, I know. I wake up every morning wanting to vomit because I can't believe what I did." I exhaled slowly. "You should have thought of that before you did it." She stepped closer. "Ryan, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I will do anything. I'll go to therapy. I'll never drink again. I'll fix every part of myself. I swear." I kept my gaze calm. "This isn't about therapy," she cried harder. "Then what do you want from me?" "I don't want anything," I said. "Not anymore." She pressed her hands to her chest. "I didn't break us, Ryan. I broke myself. I know that. But please, please don't throw me away." I looked at her for a long moment. "You didn't break us, Olivia." She held her breath. "You broke me." She stumbled back like the words physically hit her. Don't say that," she whispered. "It's the truth," I said. "You broke something in me I can't put back together." She reached for my arm again, but I stepped away. "Ryan, please. I swear I'll spend the rest of my life making up for it." "You can't make up for this," I said. "You can only live with it." She shook her head. No, I can fix this. I'll prove myself. I'll earn you back. Just, please don't give up on us. There is no us anymore." She cried harder, hands trembling. "I didn't even like that guy. I didn't want him. It wasn't about him. It was about you wanting freedom," I said. "You said it yourself on the yacht." She covered her mouth again. "I was drunk. I didn't mean it. I don't even remember saying that. You meant it enough to act on it." She shook her head. No, please. I love you. I swear I love you." I looked away. "Love isn't enough without loyalty." She stepped closer, desperate. "Then tell me what to do. Tell me how to make you stay." "You can't. But I can change. You should have changed when you still had me." She wrapped her arms around herself, shaking violently. "Ryan, I don't know who I am without you. It's not my problem anymore." She cried into her palms. "I'm losing everything, and the only person I want to talk to is the one I hurt the most." I nodded slightly. That's the irony of karma. She looked up, tears dripping off her chin. "Do you really feel nothing for me now?" I hesitated. I feel something. Her eyes lit with hope. What? Sadness? I said. Sadness for the man I used to be. Not for us. Her hope died instantly. She sank to a bench outside the building. I can't breathe, she whispered. I can't believe this is happening. You made it happen. She rubbed her temples. I've never hated myself this much. That's your work to do, I said. Not mine. She looked at me with trembling lips. Please, just don't leave like this. I have to get back to work, I said. She reached for me again. Ryan, wait, no. She closed her eyes, tears falling. Will you ever forgive me? Forgiveness isn't the problem, I said. Trust is, and I don't trust you anymore. She nodded slowly, breaking apart piece by piece. Okay, I understand. I turned toward the door. Ryan, she called weakly. I stopped, but didn't turn around. I really did love you, she whispered. I closed my eyes. I know. And that's the part that hurts the most. Then I walked back inside, leaving her sitting alone on the bench crying into her hands, surrounded by a world that no longer protected her from the consequences she created. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty for walking away. Asterisk, I met her on a Tuesday morning, kind of morning where I felt heavier than usual. I was pouring coffee in the break room when she walked in, confident and calm. She offered a small smile and said, You must be Ryan. I'm Samantha Reed, the transfer from New York. I nodded. Yeah, welcome to the Chicago chaos. Chaos doesn't scare me. I survived Manhattan. There was something easy about her presence, no pressure, no expectations. She didn't look at me the way others did after hearing rumors. She didn't ask questions. She just smiled and grabbed her mug. So, what's the best way to not get lost around here? She asked. Stay close to the coffee machine, I said. She grinned. Noted. During lunch that same day, she sat across from me. Mind if I join you? Go ahead, I said. She opened her container and took a bite before asking, You're quiet. Is that normal or just today? I shrugged. Depends on the day, she nodded, respecting the boundary. Well, if you ever feel like talking, I'm a good listener. No pressure. I didn't answer at first, but I appreciated it. The next afternoon, she found me again at lunch. Ryan, do you always eat alone, or are you avoiding me? I smirked. Avoiding you would require energy. I don't have that lately. She gave me a soft, knowing look. Rough month? I hesitated. More like a rough life collapsed into 1 week. She didn't pry. She just said, If talking helps, I'm here. If silence helps, I'm also here. Her gentleness surprised me. 2 days later, she walked beside me in the hallway and whispered, You look tired. I feel tired, I admitted. She tapped my elbow. Then sit with me for 5 minutes. We sat in an empty conference room. She didn't talk right away, she just waited. Eventually, I said, I went through something bad recently. She nodded. I figured. Pain leaves a shadow on people's faces. I looked at her. Is mine obvious? She smiled sadly, only to someone who's worn the same shadow. That sentence stayed with me. At lunch again, she asked, Do you trust people easily? Not anymore, I said. She rested her chin on her hand. Good. That means you're healing. At lunch, she asked, Are you scared of moving on? I looked down at my food. Honestly. Yes. Why? Because last time I opened up, everything broke. She nodded softly. That's the thing about broken hearts. They grow back stronger. But only if you let them. Her words felt like balm on a wound that evening. As we finished our meals, she said, Tell me something true about you. I hesitated. I'm trying to figure out who I am without her. She gave a gentle smile. You'll like the version you find. I can tell. I felt a strange flutter in my chest. Small, unexpected, almost hopeful. Later that night, I got a message from Lily. Olivia saw a picture of you eating lunch with that new girl. She's spiraling again. I typed back. How does she even know who Samantha is? Lily replied, People at work posted team photos. Olivia thinks you've moved on already. I stared at the screen. Moved on? I hadn't even healed yet. But the idea that Olivia was watching my life like a window she no longer owned felt strange. Lily sent another message. She cried for an hour. Said she ruined the only good thing in her life. I wrote back she should focus on herself. Not me. When I walked into work the next morning, Samantha noticed something in my expression. You okay? I sighed. My ex is keeping tabs on my life. Shh. She grimaced. That sounds messy. It is. Do you want to talk about it? No, I said, but thanks. She nodded. Then let's talk about coffee instead. Coffee never brings drama. I laughed quietly. You'd be surprised, oh. Did your coffee cheat on you too? She teased gently. Something about her humor softened me. Not yet. Good, because I'd hate to see you switch to tea. That'd be tragic. We really laughed for the first time in weeks. At the end of the day, she said, whatever happened to you, Ryan? I hope you know it didn't break you permanently. Exhaled. It feels like it did. It didn't, she whispered. I see strength in you. Her words hit deeper than she knew. As I walked to my car that evening, I felt something unfamiliar calm, anticipation, quiet curiosity, the first hint of healing. My heart didn't feel whole, but it didn't feel shattered either, and for the first time since the world fell apart, I wondered what life might look like if I allowed myself to feel again. Asterisk. I was finishing dinner when my phone buzzed with a message so long it filled the screen. It was from Olivia. I need closure, please. Just one conversation. I won't beg. I won't blame. I just need to speak to you once without falling apart. I stared at the message for a full minute before whispering, closure for who? But my chest tightened anyway. Part fear, part curiosity, part exhaustion. I typed back, one meeting. Public place. She replied instantly. The park near your building? No arguments, I wrote. Just talk. I understand. The next afternoon, I walked into the park and spotted her on a bench near the fountain. She looked smaller somehow, thinner, shoulders hunched. Hair pulled back messily like she got ready in a hurry, but didn't know how to finish. For a second, I felt a strange ache, like seeing a ghost I used to love. She stood when she saw me. Ryan, she whispered. Olivia, I said, keeping my hands in my pockets. She scanned my face like she expected anger. When she didn't find it, her eyes watered. Thank you for coming. I'm here to listen, I said. That's all. She nodded. I won't waste your time. I know you hate me. I don't hate you, I said, but I don't trust you. And I don't love you the way I used to. Her lips trembled. I know that's my fault. She looked down, twisting her fingers. I'm not here to win you back. I swear I'm not. I'm here because I need to say things I should have said before I threw everything away. I sat on the far side of the bench. Say them, then. She took a shaky breath. I was wrong. Not drunk, not influenced, not pressured. Just wrong. And selfish. And stupid. I stayed silent. She wiped her eyes quickly. I never respected your kindness. I thought it was something that would never run out. I thought you'd forgive anything because that's the kind of man you are. My throat tightened, but I didn't speak. She continued, voice cracking. I treated your loyalty like a safety net. I treated your love like a guarantee. I thought you'd always be there no matter what I did, no matter how badly I behaved. You thought I was weak, I said quietly. She nodded slowly. Yes, I did. And that's what hurts the most now. I mistook your heart for weakness. I mistook your calm for naivety. I mistook your love for something I could gamble with. Heavy silence settled between us. I could hear kids laughing on the playground nearby, someone walking their dog, the fountain splashing, life moving normally in a place where mine once shattered. She looked at me. I ruined everything good in my life. Everything. And there's no excuse. I'm not here to defend myself. I'm here to tell you the truth you deserved months ago. I asked, why now? She swallowed hard. Because I finally saw what I became, and it disgusted me. I saw the pain on your face that night, and I can't unsee it. I destroyed the only real thing I ever had, My chest tightened again, but the pain was dull now, less sharp. "Olivia," I said, "you didn't just break what we had. You broke me. You broke the version of me who believed you'd never hurt me." She started crying again, but quietly this time. "I know," she whispered, "and I'll live with that forever." I turned slightly away. "I'm not the man you loved. He died the moment I clicked that link." She shut her eyes tight, tears slipping past her lashes. I know I killed him." We sat there, the wind moving gently around us, carrying pieces of a life we no longer shared. After a moment, she said, "I'm going to therapy. Real therapy. Not the kind people talk about just to sound responsible. I'm going because I don't want to be the woman who destroyed you. I don't want to destroy anyone ever again." "That's good," I said softly. "You should heal. For yourself." She nodded. "But I also need you to know something." "What?" I asked. She looked up at me with hollow eyes. "I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect a second chance. I need you to know that I loved you. Truly. I just didn't know how to respect the man I loved." The weight of her words settled in my chest, not sharp, not breaking, just heavy. "I believe you," I said quietly. Her eyes widened slightly. "You do?" "Yes," I said. "But belief doesn't bring trust back." She lowered her head. "I understand." We sat in silence for a long moment. She finally whispered, "Is this goodbye?" "It has been goodbye," I said. "This is just acceptance." She inhaled shakily, then stood. "Thank you for meeting me. Thank you for listening. And thank you for loving me when I didn't deserve it." I didn't stand. I didn't move. I only said, "Take care, Olivia." She turned to walk away, steps slow, shoulders heavy, like each one carried a punishment she created herself. She didn't look back. And for the first time, I didn't hope she would. I watched her fade into the distance, a shadow of the woman I once planned a life with. And as she disappeared around the bend of the path, I whispered to myself, "This time, I walk forward alone." Asterisk. I was making breakfast when Lily called. Her voice sounded hesitant. "Ryan, you should know something," I sighed. "What happened now?" "She lost her job," Lily said quietly. I leaned against the counter. "Why?" "She's been late for weeks. Showing up a mess. Leaving early. They said her performance dropped so badly, they couldn't keep her." I didn't say anything. I just stared at the wall while the toaster beeped behind me. Lily whispered, "It's getting worse, Ryan." "How much worse?" I asked. "She's not eating, not sleeping. She keeps saying she ruined everything she touched." I closed my eyes. "That sounds like her finally understanding consequences." Lily sighed. "You don't sound happy about it?" "I'm not," I said. "This isn't a win. It's fallout." Later that day, Lily texted again. "Lily." She asked her dad for help. I wrote back, "Let me guess he said no." "Lily, he told her he won't help until she accepts what she did." I whispered to myself. Charles finally learned how to be strict. At lunch, Mark sat across from me, raising an eyebrow. "You heard more news?" "Yeah," I said. "She got fired." Mark let out a slow breath. "Karma's fast this month." I looked down at my coffee. "This isn't karma hitting her. This is her hitting herself," he asked. "Do you feel anything?" I answered slowly. "Not joy. Not satisfaction. Just understanding." Mark nodded. "Maybe that's growth, or numbness," I muttered. Later in the afternoon, Lily called again. She went to Hannah for help, Lily said. And Hannah ignored her. Said she didn't want to be dragged into drama. "Figures," I said. "Hannah only cares about her reputation," Lily sighed. "Olivia cried when she left Hannah's place. She said she deserves every bit of this." Those words sat in my chest for a long time. That evening, I stepped out onto my balcony and watched the city lights flicker. My phone buzzed again, Lily, sending another update. "Lily, she's been asking everyone if you hate her." I typed, "I don't. Hating takes energy." "Lily, She keeps saying she wishes she could undo everything. I wrote back, life doesn't work backward. Asterisk. As I stood there, the wind brushing past me, I whispered, and karma doesn't need my help. The next morning, Mark joined me for coffee. So, he said, what's the latest chapter in the Olivia downfall saga? I rolled my eyes. Don't call it that, he smirked. Fine. What's the latest learning opportunity for her? She asked her father again for financial help, I said. And he told her she needs to rebuild herself. Mark nodded approvingly. Good man. I shook my head. It's not good. It's sad. Mark frowned. Still feeling sympathy? No, I said. I just don't enjoy watching someone collapse. He studied me for a moment. You're not gloating. That says a lot. Laughed softly. Gloating means you still care about the score. I don't. At work, Samantha noticed the tension in my shoulders. Bad day? I shrugged. Just news about my ex. She raised an eyebrow. The kind of news you wanted, or the kind you didn't ask for? Neither, I said. It's just news. She nodded gently. Does it hurt? Not the way it used to, I admitted. Now it just makes sense? She leaned against the counter. Karma doesn't scream. It whispers. I smiled slightly. Yeah, it doesn't need an audience. Samantha's voice softened. You're handling this better than most would, 'cause I learned something, I said. What's that? That revenge is unnecessary when the truth does the job for you. Wow. She gave a small smile. That's wisdom. Hard-earned, but still wisdom. Later, Lily called again. Her voice was softer this time. She said she finally understands why you left her. She should have understood the moment she betrayed me, I said. She didn't, Lily replied. She didn't think you'd ever walk away. That's the problem, I said. She thought I was unbreakable. Maybe she sees now that you're human, Lily whispered. Maybe, I said, though my chest felt strangely light. After work, I walked through the park alone. The same park where I ended it. I sat on a bench and watched the sun dip behind the trees. A little boy ran past with his dog, laughing. Life kept moving, unaffected by the storms inside me or inside her. I whispered, this isn't revenge. This is balance. I remembered every sleepless night, every tear, every moment my heart cracked open. But I also remembered something surprising. I hadn't tried to destroy Olivia. I hadn't humiliated her. I hadn't posted anything online. I hadn't screamed, yelled, or punished her. All I did was walk away, everything else. Life handled on its own. When I returned home, my phone buzzed. Lily again. Lily, she said she's finally taking responsibility. I typed, good. That's her first step forward. Lily, do you want her to get better? I hesitated before writing, yeah. I don't want her to stay broken. Lily, even after everything? Because of everything I wrote? I put my phone down and leaned back, letting the quiet fill the room. Revenge would have only fed my anger. Letting go fed my peace, and watching karma unfold not cruelly, not violently, just naturally taught me something important. Justice doesn't need my hands. It just needs time. Asterisk, I didn't wake up one morning magically healed. It came in small pieces, stubborn pieces, that felt almost too quiet to notice. But one day, I looked at myself in the mirror and whispered, you're still here. That was the beginning. I joined a gym the next week. On my first day, the trainer asked, you working through something? I laughed weakly. Something like that. He nodded. Good. Pain makes strong people. I didn't lift heavy weights at first. I lifted myself. I lifted the anger, the memories, the nights of staring at the ceiling, replaying betrayal. And with each workout, something inside me loosened. One afternoon, Mark saw me walking out drenched in sweat. Damn, man, he said. You look alive again. I feel alive, I replied. He clapped my shoulder. Told you. Healing isn't a moment. It's a practice. He was right. I started reconnecting with friends I hadn't seen in months. People I ghosted because I felt too ashamed to show how broken I was. One of them, Josh, hugged me and said, "Dude, you disappeared. Thought you moved to Alaska?" I said, smiling for real, just got lost for a bit. He nodded knowingly. "You're back now. That's what matters." Their presence reminded me of the version of myself that existed before everything fell apart. At work, Samantha became a comforting part of my routine, not dramatic. Not demanding, not trying to fill any space in my heart. She simply existed near me in a way that felt safe. One morning, she stopped by my desk. Coffee run. "You coming?" "Sure," I said. As we walked, she looked over and said, "You smile differently now." I raised an eyebrow. "Differently how?" "Less. Heavy," she said softly. I blinked, surprised. "That obvious?" She nodded. When people heal, their eyes change first. While we waited for our order, she nudged my elbow. "Tell me something good today." I thought for a moment. I woke up and didn't think about her. She smiled warmly. "That's progress." I returned the smile. "It feels good." "Should," she said. "You did the hard part." You walked away. Walking away didn't feel like strength at first. It felt like defeat. But now, months later, I understood something important. Choosing myself wasn't weakness. It was survival. One evening, I met up with an old college friend. Over burgers and loud music, he said, "Man, you look lighter, happier. Did something good happen?" "Not something," I said. "Someone." He raised a brow. "Oh," I laughed. "Not like that. Just a friend. Someone who listens, sometimes." He said, "That's all a man needs." And he was right. Still, there were moments when the betrayal resurfaced quietly, unexpectedly. Like when I heard a song she used to play or walked past a restaurant we had planned to try after our wedding, but the pain was no longer sharp. Just a scar I carried with calm acceptance. One night while I was leaving the gym, Samantha called out, "Hey, superhero." I turned around. "Superhero." She shrugged. "You're rebuilding yourself. That's basically a superpower." I laughed. "Feels more like starting over." "Starting over," she said, "is the bravest thing anyone can do." We walked to the parking lot together. She asked softly, "Do you still feel broken?" I thought for a long moment. "No," I said. "I feel rebuilt, different, stronger." "Good, you deserve that." As the weeks passed, we found ourselves talking more, nothing romantic. Nothing heavy, just conversations that made the day easier. She never flirted. I never pushed. Something gentle grew between us, too fragile to name but real enough to feel. One lunch break, she looked at me thoughtfully. "You know," she said, "your scars don't define you." I rested my hands on the table. "Maybe not, but they shaped me." "That's okay," she replied. "Scars prove you survived." I sat back and exhaled. "You ever think about how betrayal changes people?" She nodded slowly. "It breaks some. It builds others. You're choosing the second path." "Am I?" "Yes," she said, "because you're not letting your pain control you anymore." Her words settled in my chest like warmth. Later that day, I received a message from Lily. "Olivia saw a picture of you at the gym. She said you look happier." It hurt her, but she understands now. I typed back, "Good. We both need to move on." For the first time, I meant it. Not out of anger, not out of spite. Out of truth. That evening, I met Mark for drinks. He raised his glass. "To the new Ryan." I laughed. "To rebuilding?" He nodded. "And to never settling for someone who breaks you again." When I got home, I stood in front of the mirror again, the same place where this chapter started. My reflection looked different. Not perfect. Not healed completely. But proud, calm, present. "I'm still here," I whispered. But this time it wasn't a question. It was a victory. I wasn't the man who begged for loyalty. I wasn't the man who shattered in silence. I wasn't the man who waited for someone to love him. Correctly, I was the man who walked away. Man who rebuilt himself. The man who finally knew his worth. And, for the first time since everything collapsed, felt proud of myself. Asterisk. I didn't realize how nervous I was until I caught my reflection in the restaurant window. My hands were in my pockets, shoulders slightly stiff, eyes carrying a mixture of hope and fear. I whispered to myself, "It's just dinner. Not a contract. Not a promise." But my heart beat like it didn't believe a word of that. Samantha walked up right then, smiling softly. "You look like you're waiting for a job interview." I exhaled and laughed. "Feels like it. Relax," she said, touching my arm lightly. "It's just me." Her touch wasn't romantic. It wasn't flirty. It was grounding, like a reminder that the world wasn't out to break me anymore. We sat at a small table near the window. Warm lights hung overhead, giving everything a golden glow. She opened the menu and said, "Okay, first rule, no talking about work." "Deal," I said. Asterisk second rule, she added, "no trauma dumps." I raised an eyebrow. "That one's difficult." "We'll save that for date 10. 10, asked. She laughed. "What? You think I only give people one chance?" "Honestly," I said, "I didn't expect a first chance." Her smile softened. "Ryan, you're not broken." For a moment I couldn't breathe. No one had said that to me since everything fell apart. As dinner went on, she asked the kind of questions that didn't feel like interrogations. "What kind of kid were you? What's the one thing you'd redo if you could? Asterisk, what's something that scares you but you still want to try?" I told her the truth. I was shy. I'd redo the moments when I ignored red flags. I want to travel alone somewhere, just once to see if I can. She listened. Really listened. Halfway through, she tilted her head and asked, "Do you feel weird being here with me?" I nodded honestly. "Yeah. But in a good way." "Good weird?" "Exactly." Asterisk. She leaned forward. "You don't have to rush anything. This can be slow." I looked at her carefully. "Why are you so patient with me?" She shrugged. "Maybe because someone was patient with me once. Maybe because I see something in you worth waiting for." I froze for a second. Those words warmed something inside me I thought was dead. When dinner ended, we walked outside, the city lights reflecting off the wet pavement. I shoved my hands back in my pockets. "So, how did I do?" I asked. She laughed softly. "You didn't run away." "That's a win." "I almost did," I admitted. "I know," she said. "And you stayed anyway." We walked along the sidewalk, our steps naturally falling in rhythm. At one point she asked, "Does this feel like a replacement to you?" "No," I said immediately. "You're not that. You're a new chapter." She looked relieved. "Good, because I don't want to stand in anyone's shadow." "You aren't," I said. "I wouldn't be here if you were." Silence settled between us. It's not heavy, not awkward, comfortable. When we reached her car, she turned to face me. "Ryan, can I tell you something?" "Sure, you look lighter tonight." "Not because of me, because of you." I swallowed. I wish I believed that. "You will," she whispered. "Give yourself time." She opened her door, then paused. "Want to do this again sometime?" My heart thudded. "Yeah," I said. "I do," she smiled. "Then we will." After she drove off, I stood there for a minute, breathing in the night air. It smelled like a beginning, quiet, unfamiliar, but hopeful. I walked home feeling something warm in my chest. Not love, not yet. But the possibility of it, something soft, something new. When I got home, my phone buzzed. A message from Olivia. It wasn't long. It wasn't emotional. Just one line. "I hope you find a love that never betrays you." I stared at it for a while. Part of me remembered the woman I once believed she was. Another part remembered the pain she caused. But tonight neither part hurt. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel nostalgia. I didn't feel the heaviness that used to anchor me to the past. Instead, I felt peace. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. I put my phone down, turned off the lights, and let the quiet wrap around me. For the first time in a long time, instead of replaying memories, my mind drifted toward the future, toward healing. toward growth, toward the possibility of loving again when it's meant to happen, naturally, not forced, not chased, not begged for. A new chapter had started tonight, and for the first time since everything shattered, I finally felt ready to move forward cautiously, slowly, but with hope. Asterisk. I used to think healing was something that happened quietly, like a wound closing on its own. But after everything that happened, I learned the truth. Healing requires work, honesty, and the courage to face the parts of myself I used to hide. The fire that went through my life burned everything I once knew. My relationship, my trust, my identity. And when the smoke finally cleared, I had to decide what kind of man would step out of the ashes. One evening, sat alone on my balcony, watching the sun sink behind the city. The orange light felt warm on my face, warmer than anything I had felt during the months after the breakup. My phone buzzed, but I ignored it. For once, the world could wait. I whispered to myself, I survived it. And saying it felt like truth for the first time. The betrayal had cut deep, deeper than I ever admitted. But it also taught me about boundaries. It taught me that love without respect is just attachment. It taught me that loyalty without reciprocity is self-destruction. And, most importantly, it taught me that losing someone who never valued me is not a loss, it's a release. Mark told me one day, "You're different now." I asked, "Better or worse?" He shrugged. "Stronger, sharper, more aware. You're not the man who lets people walk all over him." I smiled at that, not because I was proud, but because it was finally true. The man I used to be believed love alone was enough. The man I became learned that self-respect matters even more at work. Samantha noticed the change too. "You look calmer," she said during lunch. "I feel calmer," I replied. She smiled gently. "Healing suits you." It took a while, I admitted. She stirred her coffee. "The important thing is that you didn't give up on yourself." I didn't tell her how many nights I wanted to. She didn't need to know. Some battles are meant to stay in memory, not conversation. Weeks passed, and life moved forward. I felt lighter walking into my apartment. I started enjoying the gym. I laughed more, slept better, and caught myself humming to music in the car again. Little moments, tiny moments, but they felt like victories. One afternoon, Lily called me unexpectedly. "You won't believe this," she said. "What now?" "Olivia moved out of state. She found a job somewhere quiet." I paused. "Good for her. She said she needed a fresh start." "She does," I said. Lily hesitated. "Ryan, she talks about you sometimes." "She doesn't need to," I said gently. "Her life is her life now. Mine is mine. She said something you should know." "What's that?" "She said she hopes you find a love that never betrays you." I didn't speak for a moment. Not because it hurt, but because it didn't. Finally, I whispered, "I hope she finds peace too." And I meant it. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, just peace. After the call, I sat down on the edge of my bed and stared at the floor. I remembered the man I used to be, the man who believed in forever, who believed in promises, who believed in the woman he almost married. I mourned him, not because he was weak, but because he didn't know any better. Pain had changed me, yes, but it didn't harden me, it refined me. Later that week, I went on a quiet walk with Samantha. We didn't talk much. We didn't need to. The silence between us felt natural, not heavy. At one point, she looked at me and said, "You seem at peace." I nodded. "I'm learning to be. Learning is enough," I replied. I looked at Horelli, looked at her hand, realized something important. She wasn't a replacement. She wasn't filling a void. She was part of a new chapter I was writing for myself, with patience instead of urgency, with clarity instead of desperation, and I didn't feel afraid anymore. That night, back on my balcony, I spoke to the sky like it could hear me. "I'm not who I was before," I said softly, and the wind carried the words away like they belonged somewhere else. Because the truth is, I no longer saw myself as the man who was cheated on. I no longer carried the identity of someone broken by betrayal. I no longer let my scars define me or guide me. I had rebuilt my life, piece by piece, until I could stand tall again. The pain didn't disappear. Pain rarely does, but it stopped controlling me. It stopped shaping the choices I made, and it stopped being the first thing I thought of when I woke up in the morning. I breathed deeply, letting the cool air fill my lungs, and realized something powerful. I was proud of myself, proud that I walked away, proud that I didn't crawl back, proud that I didn't let heartbreak turn me cruel, proud that I protected the part of myself that still believed in love. Even after everything, my phone buzzed again. A notification. Olivia's final message still sat unread in my inbox. I opened it. I hope you find a love that never betrays you. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Peace doesn't require an answer. I locked my phone, leaned back in my chair, and whispered the truth that carried me into the future. She broke the man I was, but she created the man I needed to become.